That's right. 6 in a row. Hello, and welcome to Sunday Sit-Down number 9. Numero 9, for those who like to keep up with the Spanish numbering. Now, I'm here in my dressing room. Yeah. I have a personal one today, which is pretty exciting. And so I thought, while I'm at intermission, I might as well do my Sunday sit-down. So here we go. We left off on Sunday in Fredericton, so let's jump right into Monday. We stayed in Fredericton, which was awesome. I really like Fredericton. It's in Canada, if you didn't catch last week's Sunday sit-down, and it was freezing. It was always snowing and incredibly windy, but that's okay. That's okay. Monday I woke up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I went swimming in their awesome saltwater pool. And then we had a performance at the Fredericton Playhouse, which was directly across the street from the hotel, so you can't get more convenient than that. The crowds in Canada this go-around were incredible. Standing ovations the second the music ended, so that was awesome. And as far as eating goes, we can just assume that I ate at Quiznos, because as I've stated numerous times before, Canada is very expensive, and Quiznos had a $5 sub deal, so I just ate there almost every meal. But yeah, that includes Monday for lunch and dinner. After the performance, I went straight home. I went to bed. I was exhausted. Tuesday, once again, stayed in Fredericton. I love this. That's 3 days in a row. Can't beat that, right? I woke up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I went swimming again. We performed the show, and it went very, very well. They did a little reception for us afterwards and gave us some champagne, so that was fun. That night, I got on the computer and played drinking games with Paul from about 10:30 to 5:30 in the morning. Yikes. That's right. That's a lot of drinking games. But for him, it was only until 4:30. I was in Atlantic time, which I figured I should explain this since a lot of people don't know Atlantic time exists. It is only in Canada, and it is 1 hour after Eastern time. So it goes Pacific Coast time, Western/Mountain time, Central time, Eastern time, and then Atlantic time. So, just a little tidbit of information. So I was 2 hours ahead of Kansas City, hometown. After I stayed up playing all those drinking games, I eventually got to bed. And then Wednesday, woke up and hopped on the bus for a noon bus call because we didn't have very far to go. We went to St. John, New Brunswick, which is, again, in Canada. Let's see. When I got to St. John, I had a pretty bad stomach ache, which was something spreading throughout the entire cast. Lots of people had stomach aches. So, don't know if there was a bug or what, but I had a stomach ache, and so I ran to the mall really quick, grabbed some food, and then I went back and got in bed, hoping that when I woke up, my stomach would feel better. Well, sure enough, it did. Sometimes a nap can be the best remedy. Just let your stomach sit for a while. So that's what I did. Then we did a performance, and afterwards I went swimming, as usual. Then Jeremy, Nick, and I went out to a pub called O'Leary's. It was a pub/restaurant, and it's supposedly the most popular one in St. John. I was not a big fan. It was full of a lot of college students, and it was packed wall to wall. You couldn't even, it was like sardines, you know, or pickles. So, couldn't really walk around a whole lot. If you're wondering why I had that awkward pause after pickles, it's because it made me think of Ellen DeGeneres' stand-up comedy Here and Now. If you haven't seen it, see it. I've just promoted something. Thursday, woke up at 1 p.m., still in St. John for the second day in a row. So we had 3 days in one spot and then 2 days right after in one spot. Amazing. Loved it. I went to the mall and enjoyed lunch. And then I went back to the room and I watched TV until the performance. Did the performance, which went well, and then went straight to bed because I had to prepare for the next 2 days, which I like to call hell days. You'll see why. Friday we had a 6 a.m. bus call. We drove 11 hours to Boston, And the reason this is frustrating because originally we were not told we were going to do this. We were told that we would be flying from St. John to Cleveland, which was our next destination. But Troika wanted to save some money, and so they made us drive to Boston, and then we flew from Boston the next day to Cleveland. Now, Boston was a great city, but I stayed in because I wanted to sleep as much as possible because Saturday, which is officially the longest day on tour, by the way, we had bus call at 3:15 in the morning. 3:15 in the morning, because we had to drive to the airport. Then we got on our plane at 6 and flew from Boston to Cleveland. We got in, then had to take a long bus ride in a bus that was not our bus. It was just a bus that was, rented for this small trip from the airport to our hotel. We got to our hotel, dropped our stuff off, and then we had a 5 o'clock performance with a 3 o'clock sound check. And we did the 5 o'clock performance, which went just fine. And then we also had a 9 o'clock performance that night, and that also went just fine. It would have been an even longer day for me had Linda not come to visit. She saw both the shows, and then afterwards we headed to Pittsburgh. It was just a 2.5 hour drive, so we drove to Pittsburgh, and I got my own room, and that was perfect because the next day we had the performance in Pittsburgh, and I woke up in time for sound check, which was at noon. Just so you know, sound checks are 2 hours prior to the show, unless we've already performed a show there, in which case there's no need for a sound check because they already have the levels figured out. But we do sound check 2 hours before the show. And then we had a matinee at 2 o'clock. I went to an amazing dinner and had chicken parmesan with Linda, and then she had to scoot to get back to Kansas City. She has that whole job thing. And then right now I am in the middle of my 7 o'clock performance. Afterwards I plan to go home to my own room and watch TV until I'm ready to pass out. So, it's been a busy week, but that was our 5-minute call. Perfect timing. Catch you later. Bye-bye.